Good morning and welcome to Guided Reading. Each week we're going to be going through a book and then you'll have different activities to complete around that book, such as questions. Today, the book that we are going to be looking at is this book. Can you read the title? It starts with a tricky word. Do you know what this tricky word is? The Singing Giant. Do you know what these two names at the bottom of the book are? That's right, this one is the author. Do you know what an author is? The author is the person who writes the book. And then this name, Jonathan Langley, do you know what he might do? He is the illustrator. The illustrator is the person who draws all of these amazing pictures for the story. Does anybody know where we can find out a little bit of information about the book before we read it? Yes, on the blurb. The blurb is at the back of the book. This is the blurb and it gives us a little bit of information about the book before we read it. Let's read the blurb together. George the giant likes to sing, but no one in the village can sleep when he sings, except the babies. What will the people decide to do? Remember to join in as I read along. George the giant loved to sing. He sang in the morning. He sang in the evening. He even sang in the bath. But some people in the village didn't like his singing. Stop that singing, they said. But George went on singing and singing and singing and singing. Do you know what this tricky word is? That's right, the. The people held a meeting. Can you see what the title of the meeting is called? Stop, George, singing. And even some people have got banners saying, George, no. George, must stop singing, said the mums and the dads. Do you know what this tricky word is? He. He wakes us up at night. George must stop singing, said the grandmas and grandpas. He wakes us up in the morning. George must stop singing, said the sisters and brothers. We can't hear the television. What do you think the problem is in this story? That's right. It's that George's singing is keeping the mums and dads awake at night. It's waking the grandmas and granddads up. It's stopping the sisters and brothers from hearing the television. Can you think of something that could help this situation? Okay, let's read on and see. They went to see George. George was singing in his garden. Have you come to hear me sing? He asked. No, we can hear you all over the village. Your singing must stop, said the people. But I love to sing, said George, and a giant tear rolled down his cheek. You must stop singing, said the people. Poor George. How do you think he is feeling right now? That's right, he is feeling sad, and we know this because we can see a tear falling from his eye. Can you think of the synonym for sad? A synonym is a word that means the same thing. Yes, he would definitely be feeling upset. He might be feeling unhappy as well. George stopped singing. Poor George. Now we'll be able to sleep at night, said the mums and dads. Now we'll be able to sleep in the morning, said the grandmas and grandpas. Now we'll be able to hear the television, said the sisters and brothers. But the babies wouldn't go to sleep. They cried in the morning. They cried in the evening. They even cried in the bath. Why do you think the babies are crying? Okay, let's read on and see. Please stop crying and go to sleep, said everyone. But the babies cried and cried and cried. What word did the author just repeat 3 times in the same sentence? That's right, they repeated the word cried. The mums and dads rocked the babies, but they cried and cried and cried. The grandmas and grandpas took the babies for walks, but they cried and cried and cried. The sisters and brothers played with the babies, but, tricky word, they cried and cried and cried. How do you think they're going to get the babies to stop crying? Let's read on and see. Then one little girl said, "The babies didn't cry when George was singing." "You're right, said everyone. "George must start singing again." Tricky word. They went to see George in his garden. "Please start singing again," said the people. "Then the babies will stop crying and go to sleep. They love your singing." "We're sorry we asked you to stop." What do you think George is going to say? George the giant smiled. Then he started singing softly, and the babies went to sleep. What a lovely story. I'm so glad that George is able to sing again and that it helps the babies go to sleep. Okay, you are now going to be set a task on Dojo, an activity around this book. Keep referring back to this video as it will help you with some of the activities.